pat that foundation in, as well as kind of smooth any streaks that I may see on my face. Blending around the jawline so that you don't have a line of demarcation. First starting off with the more salmony side, the orangey peachy side, and then putting that on my eye using my fingers and just kind of gliding it over, not pulling the skin, and then patting it in. I'm gonna go into my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder and just lightly dust and glide over the eyes just to give a pre-setting to it. I'm not setting it fully, but I don't want it to move around. But I'm gonna let the rest of the foundation sit on my face and let it absorb, and then I'll use less powder later on. What I love about this brow pencil is, number one, because it's a full-size pencil and not a mechanical one, you get a lot of product all the way down to when you sharpen it down to a nub. And being a blonde color, it is not too warm, and it actually has pretty good pigment in it. So even though that the color is light, it still fills in my brows. I know that this is something that not every woman has. It may come in a makeup kit and you're like, what do I use this for? This is great for your brows. I'm gonna just show you for demo. Let's say you went too harsh in the front and it looks really boxy. Starting at the bottom, you're gonna lightly wiggle back and forth. And so I kept that shape, but I reduced the intensity so it kind of gradiates out a little bit better. So starting from the bottom, and I can even start from the top, I'm just wiggling back and forth to just soften up the color just a little bit. See? And this is kind of a warm flesh tone color. I'm gonna put that all over my lids. Then while that's drying, I'm gonna move on to my eyeliner. I've been really into doing eyeliner first as a corrective method and to help kind of gradiate things out. I really like the Aqua XLs because they're so creamy and easy to work with. And I like this taupe because it gives me a little bit of definition without looking harsh, like a black pencil, but not warm like a brown. Then I'm going to take a Bobbi Brown eyeliner brush and then smudge out that line. You'll notice that if you start with eyeliner first, you'll find that you'll use less dark colors and less eyeshadow because you got kind of the opening of the eye that you wanted to begin with the eyeliner. Already, just using this very natural color already opens up my eye. Also, the good thing about doing a smudgy eye look is throughout the day, if your makeup smudges, hey, it was already smudged. This is by Jane Iredale. It's a dark brown. And I'm gonna just emphasize that line again, gradating out and emphasizing that dark line that I just did and setting that creamy product. So I'm going into a flesh tone shade. Taking that flesh tone shade, grading out that harsh line. So that's the smoky eye rim. I'm gonna go into this Huda Beauty taupey color and go into the eye socket. Very lightly, just kind of marking out and visualizing where I want it to be. And go into the outer corners, but I'm gonna be careful not to drag it too far down because I just created that lift with eyeliner, so I want to still have, instead of a round downturn shape, I still want to create kind of an angle in that outer V. And even though this color is not dark at all, it's still creating some dimension. Then going into a darker taupe, this was a gift with purchase. This is Lancome. I'm gonna go into the outer corners and emphasize again, going about midway in the middle. And notice that I'm using this socket as my guide rather than my actual lid line. Then I'm gonna go into a matte black by Huda Beauty with that same blending brush and kind of go into the outside closer to the lash line. And I'm being pretty light with the strokes and the blending. You know, when I was less experienced, and even sometimes now, I make a mistake of putting too much color to start and it creates a harsh line. And then if you have to blend it so much with so much pressure, that's just putting a lot of wear and tear on your delicate eye area. Dipping into the Huda Beauty matte black and going into this outer corner right here. So I'm kind of connecting the bottom and the top lash line and kind of creating a tiny bit of a wing too, tiny. And extending the eye line out a little bit, then taking what's left on the brush and dragging it inward onto the lash line itself. Oh, you know what I didn't do is I didn't contour and highlight. The foundation's kind of dried. I don't think it's a good idea to put creamy products back onto my face, so I'll probably do it in powder, and I'll show you that technique. Going into that pink shade, and I'm going to just go onto the apples of my cheeks. I feel like when you first put blush on, it always looks way more intense, and then after you finish your look, it looks like it's not there anymore. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of extra to start because I always have to reapply, and I just should apply more to start. Then I'm gonna go into the bronzing color and kind of go a little bit into the cheek and kind of blend that together. I have this really pretty gold shimmer powder, inner corners of my eyes, and then dotting a little bit more in the center of the lid. I got a little bit too much in the inner corner, so taking a Q-tip and taking some of that off. To start, I'm gonna take some Laura Mercier loose setting powder and put it a little bit in my T-zone and also under the eye again and into the temples to set a good foundation for the highlight. Bridge of the nose. I'm gonna put a little bit on the chin. Cupid's bow. First, I'm gonna use that small brush and go into the smaller parts of my face, like my nose and cheeks. Really, I should have done contour before blush, but oh well. So that's looking pretty stripy. What I'm gonna do is take a big, dense brush. Here we go. And notice I'm actually grabbing the head of the brush like this. So I'm actually making it even more dense with my fingers so that I can buff. Then once I get that harsh line gone, I can just open it up and just kind of blend everything together. Let's contour my nose. And I know sometimes for the purposes of camera, we always do it a little bit more dramatic, but I want this to be believable in person and not look overly made up. So I am gonna go pretty subtle. I'm going to buff that in. What a difference it makes. And my chin. This is a great double chin trick here, guys. It's a little bit strong, so going in with the powder brush, buffing, blending, so forth. Now we can highlight, taking that luminous powder and just dusting right over the high points of the cheeks. This is not a highlighter, it's a luminous finishing powder, so it's not going to give you a huge shimmer payoff. It's just really meant to give you a little bit of luminosity and glow. Why not bump up the lids too, a little bit? I like to pump the lash curler so I don't get like one giant crimp, and I like to go upwards. If your lashes already have a curl to it, then all you have to do is hold it. My lashes are totally straight, so I need to actually create that curve. Because I'm gonna put falsies on, I'm not gonna go too crazy with the mascara, but I will put a little bit on it, especially to darken it up and go to the lash line. I'm using this Shuramura Petal Lash. Here's another great thing about the spoolie is you can comb through. I'm gonna go from the top because I don't want to lift it up and touch my lid. Is I'm kind of rotating it and curling it like this and then combing through the lash. Look at that. See, it's much cleaner. I'm using Ardell 332. I like it because it is a demi type shape. It like wings out toward the end, so that's going to create more of an open and lifted cat eye look. Has a very thin band and it's human hair, very delicate. So I'm going to be trimming these to fit my eye, and I'm definitely going to be going probably 3/4 of the way. Okay guys, I barely wear false lashes, so bear with me as I attempt to try to put these on my eyes. So I'm going to go from the top because my lashes are already curled. So I'm gonna go over and then to the lash line. That wasn't so bad. You want to get it to as close to your lash line as possible. And if you if you adhered it too high, while the adhesive is still a little wet, you can always wiggle it around. This one is really runny. I'm not used to an adhesive like this. To finish the look, I'm gonna do eyeliner. I'm gonna make it very thin because number one, I feel like the lashes are pretty dramatic, so I don't wanna go too thick. And secondly, it's really hard to get a wing liner perfect, you know, and I don't wanna, you know, I smoked all of this out, so I don't wanna go at it with Q-tips and all these kind of things if I don't get it, you know, perfect the first time. So first, okay. This is what could happen is you go in and you're not careful and the eyeliner will actually get on the lashes. Here's the trick is if you're wearing really long lashes, you want to go, like I did with the application of lashes, is go above. Let's do this. Use your finger to push this down temporarily. Go into the inner corner. And then what I'm doing is I'm laying the brush flat like this. I'm not actually using the point perpendicularly. You want to use it parallel to the eye and use the whole length of that eyeliner brush to drag along your eye. Here's a trick that I did ever since I was young. Would never do this on clients, only on myself. Use your saliva as a makeup remover. You can always use eye makeup remover too, but sometimes it leaves you with like a very obvious spot and it's greasy and removes everything else off. Like I said, I'm so not used to wearing lashes, and these are kind of on the long side even though that they're really light and natural, so I'm just having a pretty hard time. This is real life, right? I can do makeup so well on other people, but on myself, I'm still learning. Okay, so I need to assess where is the color missing. Going back, being very careful now that I have my lashes on, using that kind of pencil brush that I use, making sure that it's clean. Going into the skin tone, I'm going to go over the lid. Then going into the taupey color, kind of putting that over. Using that blending brush, dipping it into the taupey color, going into the inner corners. Going back into that shimmering gold, since it's the last time I'm using this brush. You know, one thing that's hard to do to multitask your brushes is if you go into shimmer and try to go back into matte. So it really has to be the last time that you're using it, and then going back into the inner corners again. It's a little messed up. You know, the line. How am I gonna fix this? My eyeliner is very smudgy and not that great looking. It's not a crisp, clean line. Crisp, clean line. I'm gonna take that flat eyeshadow brush that I did to put the skin color in because it's flat and kind of has a point. Going into the black and that dark brown. Kind of smudging a little here. So I need a clean bullet brush. This one is bigger than the one that I had by MAC, but this will have to do because that's what I have. I'm gonna go. I think that's good enough. For print work and my clients, I would definitely have more attention to detail, but on me and in real life, I kind of let things slide. I'm not really going anywhere. The most eventful thing will probably be the grocery store, if at that. Going into the translucent powder and just kind of dusting that lightly around the border. Then I'm going to be using this limited edition Anastasia liquid lipstick in Hudson. This is, it looks like it would be a nude, like a light brown, but it actually comes out a lot darker, and I kind of was pleasantly surprised by that. All right, so here's the finished look. What do you think? As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share with your friends, and be sure to comment below because I want to hear from you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.